What's going on, guys? Welcome to another mini episode of Eastern Current. I got my good friend Ozzy on here today. Y'all don't know this, but I've been trying to get Ozzy on for about a month and a half now, 2 months, and he's been ready to go every time, and for some reason I've had to back out on him. So very excited that we're able to make this work. I do have my son asleep on the other side of the wall here, so hopefully he sleeps for about 2 hours so we can knock this out for y'all. But this is going to be a mini episode. I get a lot of questions about the boats that we like to fish out of, so most of y'all are probably aware, and most of y'all follow Ozzy as well. If you don't, his information is, I might actually have to change it. I might have had it wrong. I forgot about that. But I'll have his information linked. I'll get him to share it as well. But we both run a bay boat as well as a skiff, and that allows us to kind of really diversify in how we fish and what we do. So I'm going to bring on Ozzy now, and we're going to talk to him about that today. Here we go. What's up, man?
What's going on, Keem Wasabi?
Oh, nothing much. You had a little walk through the woods this morning. Any success?
Yeah, the dog did great. So we did good for what it was. I'm a crappy shot, and she's a retriever with a nose for wings.
That's awesome.
So we ended up flushing 3 woodcock, and then the first one, my gun clicked, and I was like, well, that's what you get when you shoot reloads. And then the other 2, I scrubbed out. So we found them. I just was a crap shot today. So.
Yeah. Hey, that happens, man. That definitely happens to everybody. If you don't shoot crappy, sometimes you're not shooting enough. That's how I look at it. So
I like that. I'm gonna say that again. I'm using that.
Yeah, if you're not, it's the same with fishing, man. If you don't blow some shots, sometimes you're not fishing enough.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, first off, share with people the 2 different boats that you have and kind of why you chose to have those 2 different boats. And then at the end of that, maybe go through what would be your perfect setup, whether you have the perfect setup of 2 boats or if you could choose your 2 perfect boats.
Okay. So I run, and I don't even know that I can say that I run primarily one and another one because it's just so back and forth for me. But I'll start with the Bay Rider. I got a 20-foot Bay Rider. It's actually a 1960 model, which they don't make anymore. But it's 20 foot long. It's a flat bottom, and it's got these deep stringers that chop out a little bit. I love that boat. That's what I cut my teeth on. That's what I learned my area and started guiding using, and I love that boat. It's super spacious. And then later on, I bought my father-in-law's boat, which prior to buying it, I already spent a good amount of time on it, fell in love with it. It's a Ranger Phantom 168. I love that boat. It handles water really well to be what it is. It's a 16-foot flats boat. It probably doesn't pull and handle as well as like what your HPX does, but it's super manageable. I don't mind being up there on the platform all day. It doesn't suck to push around. And it's a give and take. It's a dry boat. It's got built-in spray rails and then another set of spray rails. So I don't know if that's redundant or not, but I just love that I can cut across a big body of water if I need to in a 16-foot boat and then straight to drafting 6-7 inches of water.
For sure.
So you definitely give up a little bit. I know that you probably draft less and probably handle the boat better in those technical poling skiffs. Like when I say that, I mean like the tunnel holes and stuff like that. But I'm willing to give that up to be able to, if I need to cut up river, if I need to cut across a big body. I've had that Ranger out throwing flies at Spanish and Bonita before, so I'm super happy with that boat.
Definitely.
So that's the 2 boats I'm running, and I love them both for sure.
So tell me this, aside from being a fishing guide, if you were just a dude who liked to fish and had a lot of time to do it, and you could have one of those 2 boats only, which one would you choose?
Ranger Phantom.
The Ranger Phantom. So
not even a doubt in my mind.
Not a doubt in your mind.
No. If I wasn't guiding, I really wouldn't need the space.
Right.
And I can trout fish on a moderate day, on a moderately windy day in the Ranger. I think it's just more versatile.
Yeah, for sure.
There's few things that the Bay Rider can do that the Ranger can't do, and that's just haul a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And if I was just an avid angler, I probably wouldn't throw a lot of live bait, just based on my preferences. So I wouldn't really need the storage and the live well in the room for casting corks and
Right.
things like that. Now that I've said it out loud, I'm starting to second guess.
That's like the worst question to ever be asked. Is like, if you could only have one boat, what would it be? Like, I need 5 boats. I don't need one boat. I need 5 boats.
Absolutely. I
also need to win the lottery.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be an easy decision. But I think it would end up being the Ranger probably.
See, I think if I could only have one boat now, it would probably be not a boat I have. I think I would choose that Blazer 22 Tournament Edition, because that thing's like the perfect combination of a skiff and a bay boat. I mean, I would lose my ability to do that real shallow water fly fishing, but I don't know. I maybe it would probably be a skiff. If I could only have one boat, it would be a flat skiff. So but I don't want to only be able to have one boat. I hate even asking myself that question.
Yeah. So it's funny that brings up a story I'll share with you right quick. There's a good friend of mine, and we fish tournaments together, and we just chit-chatting about boats and whatnot while we're fishing. And anyways, we was talking about wanting to get like a tournament-style boat, like Eric Simmons or a Blazer. Yeah. We want to go really fast and have that tall platform. And then we're talking about this, and we get into some really cool fly fishing stuff. And we get done with this school of fish, and it takes like 3 hours of just really fun fishing with the fly rods. And he like kind of starts that conversation back. He's like, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want a Blazer. I don't want an Eric Simmons. He's like, because that just changed my mind right there. Right. Like, that's why I have to have a flats boat all the time. But yeah, those boats are bad. The Blazer bays, the Mayax or Majak, however you pronounce it.
Yeah. I think you said it right the first time. I've been calling it the wrong thing forever. I've been calling it a Majak, but I've been corrected. So.
Yeah. Oh, I like the El Pescadores too.
Yeah, those are really cool. All those Texas style boats, man, are sweet. My brother's got a new Blazer bass boat, and that thing, man, it just is so fast, and it's just such a machine. It's designed so well. Yeah. And there's a few of those Blazers around here that you'll see every once in a while.
And this is our last little story. We'll get into the beans of this thing, but the first time I saw a Blazer bay, it was my very first tournament, which is a funny story in and of itself, how I even ended up. Because I was just a regular angler, ended up sitting in this pool of other boats waiting to blast off, underqualified to be there, fishing with a really good guide. And anyways, we're about to blast off, and this Blazer bay pulls up beside us, right? And I heard his motor for the first time just sound like a hot rod. I'm like, man, that's a nice boat. I just sound like a sports car. I look over, and he puts like goggles on. I'm like, what? What is this about? I was like, I'm in trouble. We're in like 18-foot center console with a 75 on the back. And that was kind of my introduction to those boats. Dude, when we took off, watching all those rooster tails and stuff, those boats, you said it best, dude. They're just a machine.
It's a machine.
But that was kind of my introduction, probably 6 or 7 years ago, to like what those were and what they were all about. I didn't realize. I was like, well, who puts goggles on? What are you doing? Dude, when they took off, I'm like, God, no.
Yeah, dude, they're serious machines for sure.
Yeah,
they're cool boats. Well, sweet. So that's really what I wanted to get into for this mini episode. Just kind of talking about it. I guess the pluses and minuses. So like the pluses of a skiff would be the fact that you can draft shallow, and get into areas a lot of other people can't. But you can't carry many people, and you can't cover big water as well. And then vice versa with the bigger boats. You can you're more comfortable usually. You can carry more people, but you can't quite get So you really just got to ask yourself what you're going to do the most of. And I feel like an angler really doesn't know until they've fished pretty hard for a few years of what kind of boat might be the best fit for them. So
yeah, absolutely. I think my favorite part about having the two boats is because there's so many facets inside the fishing community, or not even the community necessarily, but what it has to offer. But like you said, you got to kind of know what you want to do, right. And you don't know what you want to do until you spend time on the water.
For sure.
But my favorite part about having both these boats is how they yin-yang each other. And what one can't do, the other one can do, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I like being able to. If it's too windy, I can just take the big boat. If it's great tides and slick out there, then I can take the little boat. And then of course from a business standpoint, because I purchased the second boat from a business standpoint, I can offer more as well. I can do a family of 5 and then turn around the next day and I can do 1 or 2 anglers and
Right.
uh, in the shallow water. But I mean, I say bay boat. I don't even have a true bay boat like you do. Um, I can I can draft shallow in my bay boat, and I always chuckle a little bit that we brag about how shallow our bay boats can draft. Um, but you still need a foot for that trolling motor, no matter what. Otherwise, you're
Yeah.
gonna be clapping the top of the water. Like I can draft what it says is 8 inches on the specs of my bay rider, and it doesn't mean anything to me because I need a foot to a foot and a half, depending on what trolling motor you have.
Right.
Uh, so,
And I feel
but
like that depends too on the wind. Like you might need more than that if it's real windy because that
oh
trolling
yeah,
motor's got to work harder, and vice
yep,
versa. If it's real calm, you can get away with a little bit shallower on the trolling motor.
yep. And those bay boats, if you do start to get into shallow water and sight fishing, you got to worry about boat slap. That's one thing I've noticed in the small boat is it's little to no boat slap in that Ranger. But
Yeah.
when I get in my flat bottom, it's so hard to be sneaky because you are running a trolling motor and you're you got the boat slap and that's loud and stuff like that. But there's things that thing does really really well. So like if it's blowing 20, I don't have to cancel trips anymore,
Right.
or here in the winter when we slow down, I can still go fun fish no matter what.
Right.
Um, so it's definitely has its advantages, and I can load up the family and a dog and 5 beach chairs. You know what I mean? Let's face it, we all still, I don't know about everybody, but I still go and be a little tourist sometimes. I'll go sit on the
Heck yeah,
sand.
dude. Well, you got to. You got to remind yourself why we love living here. So.
Yeah, man. So it does. When I just had the Bay Rider, I would often say this is the best boat for the area.
Yeah.
To enjoy everything the area has to offer, from loading the family up and finding seashells to trout fishing in the winter to fishing in the bays and the marsh that you can access in a boat like that. That was the boat for it. But I think the smaller boat just does something technical a little better. So
For sure. I agree there.
definitely love the yin yang though. Having both of those options when you wake up in the morning is pretty sick.
I agree. And once you have the two options, so you can never go back to just one boat because even thinking about it, like, oh, what if I sold my Maverick and my Pathfinder and I got a Blazer? It's right in between. I'd really be screwing myself on both ends. You know, I'm putting myself right in the middle of
So
being able to do this.
I'll ask you that question again when you have something break on both boats in the same week, and you have to do double maintenance. And
That's about every week for me.
yeah, trust me, I've
I've got multiple things wrong on all 3 of my boats right now, so
Oh,
that's how it goes.
But that's the not that we're here to talk about the downside, but that is definitely a con you got to think about because anybody that's owned a boat for any length of time has done maintenance and experienced something going out, and it's times 2 or times 3 once you get
For
more
sure.
boat.
It makes me jealous of kayak fishermen. Like when you really break it down, of like you don't have the range, but man, you have the simplicity and the ability to make yourself really focus on fishing hard where you can access. So
Mhm.
that's a
Yeah.
whole nother conversation
Yeah, they definitely know the water. I think a little more intimate right around the ramps
for sure, definitely.
Um,
Which we'll often
but
overlook.
yes, absolutely. But yeah, definitely double maintenance. And I've often wondered if I need to go down to one boat. And if I could go down to one boat, I've already picked it out. Like
Yeah,
we
so
all.
that was my next question. So and then we'll wrap this little mini episode up with that. But
Okay.
share with me if you could have one boat for guiding and for fun fishing. Is the only boat you can have. What would it be?
I said it so confidently, but I'm actually stuck between two.
Okay.
But the Explorer makes a really good boat.
Yeah.
The X13
Yep.
with the Dead Rise of 13. I think it's in between my two boats.
For sure.
A 7-inch draft that can cover
Big
really
water.
big water. I would definitely pick some type of tarpon boat.
Yeah.
I've never touched a tarpon in my life. That's kind of my what's the word? Achilles, I guess. That I've not really traveled and fished. I traveled to Charleston for the first time this summer to fish. So all I know is North Carolina.
Yeah.
But I see these boys with the tarpon boats. They can run across big water and take chop, but they can still pole in pretty shallow water. So I think it'd be some kind of tarpon boat like that. X13, but I also really love the Beaver Tail Lightning.
Yeah, a great boat.
I'm a lousy tournament fisherman, but I have a competitive edge that gets me in trouble more times than not, and I love doing it. I love fishing those tournaments and stuff
Right.
like that. So I kind of have that in mind too. Like that Lightning would be it for that. So, hey, what's up, bud? Um.
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
both two killer options, and I bet if you had given me a minute to think about it, I could have picked those boats out for you. They just seem both those boats seem to fit your style pretty well.
yeah, they're pretty bad. 'Cause I can't give up trout fishing. Like I could never go to a small technical skiff that gets you wet all winter and anything like. I've never been on your boat, so I don't know how dry it is or ain't. But um, I don't know that I could be confined to just one because I do have a trout bug really bad, and I love to go fish for trout across the big water, and
Right,
so I would need something to get me there for
for
sure.
sure.
And I think both of those boats would do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Right now, you ask me this any given day, and I answer different questions, but I don't. I can't pick one, dude. I don't know. Probably would have to be a skiff, but if I could have, right now, I'd love to have that Blazer 22, and then like a tiller skiff, small tiller skiff that would
Oh,
be just big enough for me to still run two clients on. Not going to be as comfortable as like my Maverick, but I can still my fly clients. I can still run my two fly clients on and go do what we need to do in that, and then have that other boat. But still, then you need a bigger boat. But I don't know. That's a never ending discussion of what
yeah.
boats to pick. So if
And
anyone wins the lottery and wants to have free guided trips for the rest of their life, they can buy me and Ozzy both our dream boats. So just hit us
yep.
up on here, and we'll both give you two free trips a month.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
for the next 20 years, it'll work.
you drive a hard bargain.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can negotiate the details a little later on, but if you do and you want to buy us some boats, let us know. But man, we'll wrap this up. Thank you so much for coming on, Ozzy, and you guys, thanks for checking us out. If you do want to see some extra content that's not out there for everybody, check out our Patreon page. We'll have that linked, and we will see y'all next week. Later.